My name is Brad. Good to see you all again. This is the Let's Get Inspired, episode 13. Today is the 8th of July. It's a Tuesday. What time are we on now? It's just gone past 10 to 8. I'm just going to change the lighting a little bit. It's a little bit better. Okay, so let's get into it. So today's episode, the title is When Solitude Heals, the Power of Being by Yourself as a Man. So a lot of men today, they aren't afraid of being alone. They're afraid of what comes with not being understood. But solitude itself isn't loneliness. Sometimes it's the only time that a man can actually hear himself. So let's get into it. And I'm going to be referring to my notes as well. I'll interact to any questions or comments as best I can while still going ahead with the video, of course. Please note, this is delivered in a freestyling kind of manner. So a lot of what I'm saying is just coming straight off the cuff from my own experiences and my own interpretations of things. So yeah, I'm just going to get into it really. So what's the purpose of this live? What is the purpose of it? I have got my notes here, by the way, which I'm referring to for structure, just to be transparent with you all. So the first point is we're going to be breaking the stigma that being alone equals being lonely or unwanted, should I say. So breaking the stigma that being alone means that you're lonely or unwanted, because I don't think it's always the case with that. And the second part is we're going to be showing how solitude can be a tool for growth, clarity, and self-respect. Also, the purpose of this live is to create space for viewers to share how they use their alone time. So we'll be asking questions later on in the video. I'll be interacting with you all as best I can. And also, lastly, the purpose of this video, it's going to be to encourage men to feel proud of choosing the peace over the chaos. So choosing the peace over the chaos. So I'll go with the one more thing. So basically, this is the title is called When Solitude Heals, the Power of Being by Yourself as a Man. And a lot of men today, they aren't actually afraid of being alone. They're afraid of what comes with not being understood. But solitude itself isn't loneliness. Sometimes it's the only time a man can hear himself think. So I'm going to say hi to all the audience. Hello to Sander B. Hello, Monarch. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone that's subscribed so far. It means a lot. Been at this 6 months now. It's a slow process, but I'm going to keep going. But thank you for everyone that's subscribed. I genuinely do appreciate it. And as the name says, inspirational ambivert, I'm trying to inspire positivity. That's what I'm trying to do. As best as I can and as honestly as I can. So let's get into it. So let me introduce, let's think about when people are single, a lot of the time, well, imagine this scenario, you might have seen this before, or heard this before, but when you're single, they go, why have you not got a partner? They'll ask you, why have you not got a partner? And then if you do get a partner, when you've got one, for example, they'll go, what will they ask then? They'll ask, when are you getting married? Oh, when are you getting married, they'll ask. And then once you've married, they'll ask this. It's like it's never ending, isn't it? Oh, when are you having children? So you have one child. Oh, when you're having the next child. That kind of thing goes on, doesn't it? So you can go from, no matter where you are in life, single, doesn't mean you're losing, by the way. Nothing wrong with being single. Partnership, married, or with kids. Each step, the society is basically, or people in general, will question you, what you're doing next, when you're having the next kid, why you're on your own. And I don't think that's always a bad thing. But a lot of the time, obviously, I'm talking in relation to men here, but obviously this can apply to women as well. Absolutely. I think sometimes it's good to be on your own. It's good to be alone, isn't it? In my opinion, you need that time alone. And that's what I'm going to get into in the video. But this one, just to mention, this is especially for those guys that have had to rebuild quietly. They've had to rebuild recently. Some guys have had to need to rebuild. Their whole lives have been torn apart. Their relationships haven't worked out. Or maybe they've been on their own for a while and they're trying to rebuild. They're trying to make something of themselves. And they're doing that via solitude, which isn't loneliness, which I will get into as we go on. And just to reframe again, I am referring to my notes a little bit as guidance. So let's get into it. So the first part I'm going to be mentioning is that why solitude can feel scary at first. So why solitude can feel scary at first. So imagine you could have been in a relationship for a long time and you're used to that dynamic. You've always having someone to come home to, someone to relate to, someone to talk to you about your day to. And then all of a sudden, that's gone. That's gone. Potentially, you could break up. They could cheat on you. The relationship could break down. Obviously, you're not going to feel happy in those moments. It's an emotional upheaval and it's a massive change. It's not just imagine you've been cheated on. It's a horrible feeling. Trust me, I've been there. I've been cheated on, and you're used to having that person in your life, and you think that the love of your life, let's say, or your best friend or whatever. Then all of a sudden, that best friend's gone with somebody else. That best friend doesn't want to speak to you anymore. There could be a lot of reasons for that, right or wrong. Who knows? But you've gone from that dynamic of having someone in your life all the time, they're always there, and then all of a sudden, they're not there, and you're on your own. And that, I felt it myself. I've experienced it myself when I was younger. But that moment when you think, oh shit, my routine's completely changed. I used to always go for that meal with that person on this night. I used to watch this television program with this person on this night, and then all of a sudden they're gone. They're not there anymore. And also, it can feel really terrible. Obviously, it's like, imagine, this sounds a bit grim, but imagine if someone's dead. Someone's died, right? They've gone, they've died. It's horrible. And then you won't ever see them again, obviously, not in this life at least. But it's like, when the end of a relationship, it's like they've died, but they're still alive, if you get what I'm saying. Because they're not there anymore, are they? Yeah. So it can be, it's a big shock at first, especially when if you're not used to being on your own. You're just used to those people all the time, and it's getting through that initial phase. And that's why a lot of people, I believe, they go on, what's it called? Sorry, I've got to get the words out. One moment, a sip of water. What's that saying when somebody rebound relationships? So when some women can do it easier than men, I believe, because I think women can attract men quicker than men can attract women. That's my opinion anyway. And they go and rebound relationships straight away because they're scared of being on their own. They can't handle being on their own. They don't want to be in their own thoughts. It upsets them. So they go straight into another relationship, but they don't work on themselves. So I'm going to elaborate a bit more now. So why solitude can feel scary at first, which I've just mentioned. But the first point is society equates being alone with failure. So society thinks that you're on your own, you're not winning, you're a failure. You've not got a partner, you're a failure. And that's what society the peer pressure of society, let's say, can feel like. And I've experienced it myself because I've had a lot of years on my own at some point. I was on my own for a long, long time. I even got to the point where I thought, actually, I'm not even going to end up in a relationship again. I honestly thought it was on my own for that long. I thought I just wasn't suitable for it. And then obviously you feel like you're being judged because you're single, and there's nothing wrong with being single. Some people are happy being single. There's a lot of freedom in being single. It's not all bad. Of course, it can be good if you're with the right person. It can be lovely, absolutely lovely. But if you're with the wrong person and they're toxic and they're dragging you down, you're better off being on your own, in my opinion, in that kind of scenario. But society itself can see it. I do get it. Some people think you're weird because you're on your own. Oh, what's wrong with him? He's no family. He's no kids. He's no partner. What's wrong with him? And they judge you because of it. And you shouldn't allow that to bother you as best you can, because it's silly. It's one of society's rules, isn't it? You're meant to have a 2 up, 2 down house. You're meant to have a partner. You're meant to have 2 children. You're meant to have a dog. Like, there's no rule. Why do you have to have all those things? There's nothing wrong with those things. But my opinion is you should live your life how you want to, as healthily as possible, as respectfully as possible. But who says you've got to get married? Who says you've got to have kids? People judge you when you don't have. I get it as well. I don't have any children, and I get judged for it. And my partner gets judged for it as well. Why have you not got any kids when you're having them? What are you going to do when you get older, they say, don't they? Who's going to look after you when you get older? Are your kids going to look after you when you get older? There's no guarantee of that one. Also, you're expecting a lot there, in my opinion. I'm nothing against people that have children, but it's those societal pressures that I'm on about. Those unwritten rules, as they say. You've got to get married by 30 or whatever BS that they come up with. And a lot of these conversations are done they're just random, aren't they? In my opinion. They're just like, it's just basic conversations that people have. When are you going on holiday this year? That kind of question. Small talk. When are you getting married? They ask these things all the time. And I think I don't agree with all those things. I think you should live how you want to live, in my opinion. So being on your own doesn't mean you're failing. No, it does not. And anyone that says it is full of shit, in my opinion. Excuse my French, excuse my swearing. So I'm going to move on. So this is on the topic of why solitude can feel scary at first. So the next point I'm going to make, referring to my notes again, to be open and transparent, of course. So this is saying, for men, constant activity equals validation. And I think this can be true for women as well. But for men, constant activity equals validation. So you've got to always be doing something. You've got to always be at that event just to get the approval of others, isn't it? That's how I interpret that, basically. You've got to always be doing something. You've got to always be busy. You've got to always be on the go. And you don't. Sometimes it's good to be quiet and sit with yourself. A lot of people won't do this, though. I think if I was ever I thought about this today, actually. If I was ever in isolation, not that this is going to ever happen, hopefully. Sorry, I'll just move that off there. If I was ever in isolation, I think I'd be great. I'm good on my own. I like my own energy. I like my own thoughts. Get to clarify everything, get to think clearly. But for a lot of people out there, they've got to always be busy. So there'll be no drinking all the time. Nothing wrong with drinking sometimes, don't get me wrong. But they'll be always on the go. They've got to be going out. They've got to be doing this. They've got to be around people. And that's you can become dependent on others then. And then you're kind of like an approval junkie. So I'll say it again, you're kind of like an approval junkie in that situation. So you're hooked to the validation. Of course, some of us like validation, of course. But anyway, I'm going to move on. So that's that point. So still with this point as well, sorry. Why solitude can feel scary at first. So this one is, referring to my notes again, if you're not chasing someone or something, are you wasting your time? The answer is no, I think. But anyway, so if you're not chasing someone or something, are you wasting time? So some people think that if they've not got something on the go, they've not got a relationship on the go, they're not trying to seduce somebody, they're not trying to get into a relationship with someone, that they're wasting the time. There's no point in doing that. You've got to be doing that all the time. And I don't think that's a good thing, really. It's good to be on your own. It's good to have your own thoughts. It's good to rewire yourself, reframe, and reflect on yourself as well. Think about if you've just been in a long relationship, it's not worked out. You need that. I think you need time to recharge, and I think it's a really good, healthy thing. But not everybody does this, of course, and not everyone's gonna have the same opinion as me. And just to be open and honest as well, these are just my perspectives and my opinions based on my own experiences, basically. Doesn't mean that I'm completely right with everything. I'm not ever going to say that I am completely right with everything, because I'm not. And I'm open to anyone's comments or suggestions, by the way. If you want to change my mind, go for it. I'm open-minded enough, and I'm not too egotistical to try at least understand other people's perspectives. So if you do fancy commenting, go for it. So that's number one out of the way. Sorry, I'm just going to have a sip of water, then I'll move on to part two, basically. So next is there's the difference between loneliness and solitude. So the difference between loneliness and solitude. So the first point is, I've got my notes again, sorry. Loneliness equals lack of connection. So let me think about that. Loneliness equals lack of connection, yeah. Because sometimes, I think you might have heard or seen this before, sometimes people can be around loads of people, but they're not connecting with any of them. It could be a lot. Imagine if you're around, I've been there when I was younger, especially. I was around a lot of superficiality. I was probably part of that superficiality, if I'm completely honest. But there's no connection there. There's no depth there. There's no realness there. There's no connection. Even though you could be surrounded by loads and loads of people, if you're not connecting to them, it can feel very, very, very lonely. Because they're not seeing you, are they? They're not understanding you. They're not getting to some people, you be in a group of people and they will just talk about themselves, for example. Me, myself, and I, basically. Me, basically very selfish people, in my opinion. And they won't ask you about you. They won't get to know you. They won't even be aware of what your capabilities are because they're just too busy chatting shit about themselves. Excuse my swearing. They're too busy chatting, like I'm doing now. Sorry, I'm contradicting myself a little bit. But they don't look at you. They don't ask you any questions about you. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel, in my opinion, deep down, you're going to feel lonely, even though you're around loads of people, because they're not seeing you. They're just using you as a sounding board in that kind of situation, which isn't good. So then we're going to move on to, so we're talking about the difference between loneliness and solitude. So that was loneliness I've just spoken about. Solitude is different though. So solitude, you're on your own. You're on your own, but there's peace in that, inner peace. You're choosing to be on your own, and you're acknowledging your own thoughts. This is all about awareness as well. A lot of people don't get to this point, by the way. A lot of people don't get to this point. They're always on the go all the time. They're always ignoring their inner voice, inner self. That's where solitude can be a great thing, and it can be very addictive as well. It is for me anyway, personally. But that's a solitude, and sometimes, having that me time, that solitude, it can reinvigorate you, it can recharge you, and that is vital, especially if you've just been in a relationship that's not worked out. It could have been a toxic relationship, or it could have just fizzled out. Who knows? But it's good to be on your own. That solitude is going to give you that. It's going to give that clarity. It's getting through the initial stages of it, the first stages of it, let's say, which makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And a lot of people might not even agree or see where I'm coming from, but that's my point with regards to solitude. So referring to my notes again, I'm gonna ask a question. So ask, have you ever felt lonely even surrounded by people? So I'm gonna type that in now. One moment, please. Just please bear in mind, this is a live vlog. I'm freestyling here. I'm referring to my notes, but a lot of this is like freestyling. I'm speaking the best I can, as imperfect as that is. And my aims are to just basically try and help people. That's my intention, to try and help people, to try and share experiences, try and inspire people to do better in their lives. I'm not going to get this perfect though. Let's be honest. Let's be real. That's the best you can be. You can't. I'd rather be a real somebody than a fake. What's that saying? I'd rather be a real nobody than a fake somebody, is the quote. Which I'm trying to. So I'm just going to read this out because I'm not going to be able to type that in. So I'll ask the question to whoever's watching. You don't have to answer, but if you can, that's great. And have you ever felt lonely even when surrounded by people? So one sip of water. I'll give it a moment and then I'll elaborate myself. Yeah, I've been there. I remember, God, I was in my early 20s. I used to go clubbing a lot. I used to go out a lot. I used to take a lot of bloody drugs as well. Silly me. I was a young kid then, I suppose. I'm 42 now. Hopefully I'm a lot wiser and a lot smarter now than I was then. I was an absolute bloody idiot. But I was surrounded by a lot of friends at the time, and they were all about image. It's all superficial and all bullshit. And they never really, I don't think they really got to know me or acknowledge me in the way, in a genuine way. Maybe I didn't do the same back to them. And they just didn't see me for who I was, and they had no idea what I was capable of. They just see me as a joke, as just an idiot or whatever, they saw me as a weak person. Maybe I was a little bit weak at the time, if I'm honest. Probably was, if I'm honest, because I didn't really know myself. I wasn't compos mentis at the time. And yeah, did I feel lonely? Yeah, I did. And I was surrounded by loads and loads of people. I had loads of friends, but they weren't friends. They were more like acquaintances, if I'm honest. They were acquaintances. And the thing that drew us together was the culture, the music culture, which is got dance music culture, let's say, trance and whatever else, music. But the other thing that joined us together was the drugs as well. So it was the party drugs. And did I feel alone? Absolutely. And was I happy? For glimpses of it, I was happy because it was like chemically induced happiness, let's say. You go into the club, you're off your head, you've had some ecstasy tablets or whatever. You shouldn't do those things, by the way, but at the time, you're having a great time at the time. But when you're coming down and when you're around all these negative people, around drugs and around silliness, around craziness as well, which I'm not going to get into today, you can feel lonely. You can definitely feel lonely. And it's all a lot of the conversations and the interactions were all very superficial, by the way. It was all crazy bullshit. Was it fun at times? Absolutely. Did I know a lot of people then? I used to know a lot of people within my own demographic, let's say. I don't see those people anymore. But were they my true friends? No, most of them weren't. Did I feel lonely? Absolutely. Absolutely. So enough of that. We're going to move on to section 3. So the growth that happens in solitude. The growth that happens in solitude. So what's the positives from it? Let's get point number 1, referring to my notes again, is the clarity. You can hear your real thoughts. You hear your real thoughts. Let me think about that. Sorry, just have a sip of tea. And by the way, I don't, in a normal like obviously now I'm sat in a room on my own and I'm conversing on my own. I don't, if I'm at work or wherever, I don't talk, I can't have these types of conversations. I can't, because a lot of people don't have the depth for it. They're not open to it. So I don't usually have, but it's nice to speak like this. This is great for me personally as well, for my own personal development. With clarity, you can hear your own thoughts when you're in the when you're on your. I remember, this is another story. I remember I was in my early 20s, and I used to be. I lead my own life now. I'm like a lone wolf now. But when in my early 20s, I went through a period of being like a follower. So I was doing what other people wanted me to do. I was going to places where they wanted me to go. I was a bit of a muppet at the time. I've got to be honest. I look back at it and I cringe a little bit. I think, God, you didn't know what you were doing. I was a bit lost. And I remember at one point, I thought I'd had a few years of doing this. It wasn't doing me any good because I like to live my own life. It wasn't making me happy. I started to I remember once I thought, right, I'm not associating with that person anymore. I don't want them controlling me anymore. I remember thinking, oh my God, I don't even know what I want to do. I didn't have any clarity. I thought, what the hell do I do? I'm so used to other people telling me what to do. Now I've got my own mind and got my own decisions. I felt out of place. I felt strange because I was so used to other people dictating my life for me, which is shit, by the way, looking back at it. But I was in my early 20s, so I'm going to let myself off with that one because I was immature and underdeveloped. Of course, at 21, 22, I didn't have a bloody clue. But But that's where solitude can really help. That time alone, man, I love it. It's great. It's just you're with your own thoughts. And then if you want something, if you're becoming aware of your thoughts, that's the first stages of awareness, I suppose, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm thinking, what am I thinking about? I am not my thoughts, basically. And then you start, I don't know, I'm trying to elaborate the best I can. But that's where I suppose that's where the clarity can come from, isn't it? From just those quiet moments, reflecting, what do I want with my life? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to achieve? What's my, how did I act in that situation? How could I have done that better? This is self-reflection as well. Self-reflection, a lot of people don't even do this, do they? They don't even look at themselves. They don't look at themselves in the mirror. They don't, because basically we're human. So what we're going to do, humans make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's shit stinks at some point. Some people's shit stinks more than others. Of course it does. But once you've got that clarity, those clear thoughts, you're thinking to yourself, you're on your own, you're thinking about what do I want to do, etc., etc. That's all I've got to say on that for now, sorry. So moving on. So the next part is, this is all about the growth that happens in solitude. So the next one, referring to notes again, is peace. No one else's expectations or performance. So I'm going to read it again. Peace. No one else's expectations or performance. So this is the beauty of solitude. You're on your own. Who are you answering to? You're answering to fucking no one, mate. You're answering to sorry, I like swearing sometimes. You're answering to fucking no one because you're on your own. You've got that solitude. This is all about you and what you want to do. This is not being selfish, by the way. This is being self-full. But it's not being selfish. It's being self-full. And to help others, you need to be in a good place to begin with. So sometimes you need that solitude, mate. So no one else is going to be expecting this of you. No one else is going to be expecting that of you. And the truth as well is, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe anyone anything. I think that without being rude, or I'm not trying to sound rude or selfish at all. That's not my point. But you don't owe anyone anything. And other people's expectations of you, or you need to act a certain way, or you're that person. Have you ever had that in your life? And people put you in a box, or you're harmless. You're this you. You're that you. And I think to myself, you have no fucking idea who I am. You no idea who I am, and you put me in a box because that's their own. But what's that? That's their own mental limitations. That's their lack of understanding of who you are. And these same people that put you in the box, they haven't even got to know you well. They've not even tried to get to know you well, but they'll just put you in a box. So they'll think, oh, you're not capable of that. You can't do that. You're not this. You're not that. And they're trying to dictate to you who you are. You should never let anyone bloody do that, by the way. Never let anyone do that. And some people will. Some people will. Some people do it consciously, but some people do it unconsciously as well. They're not even aware that they're doing it. But that's always, I suppose, what can you gain from that? That's when you prove them wrong. You prove it to yourself, though, mainly. You're proving things to yourself with regards to that. So, yeah, and also, I think it mentions performance as well. So you don't need to perform when you're in solitude, do you? It's just you on your own, thinking about yourself, clear with your thoughts. I think it's really positive. Again, this is one of the good things about solitude. I'm not saying being, by the way, just to mention solitude, I'm not saying be a complete hermit, by the way. Some people might like that. I don't know. I think that's an extreme. That's the extreme. Too much of anything's bad, isn't it? A little bit of solitude's good. Too much of it, maybe that could be deemed to be bad. Depends which way you look at it, I suppose. Anyway, so I'm going to move on. That's enough of that. So the next point is, again, we're still on point number 3. So this is the growth that happens in solitude. And the next is self-repair after heartbreak, burnout, or betrayal. So solitude is going to give you that self-repair, isn't it? After heartbreak, burnout, or betrayal. So if you're heartbroken, been there, you're going to be in a lot of pain. You're not going to be in a good place. I've been there. It's very painful, by the way. I hope no one experiences it. A lot of people do experience it, and it's a good life. I suppose it's a life lesson, but it's not a nice feeling. Because I suppose it's someone that you love, that you think that loves you, that you think that they're your best friend and then they stab you in the back and then they go off with somebody else. That's betrayal, isn't it? Or it could be friendships or a family that portray you in different ways. And sometimes as well, sorry, going on, I'm just going to have a sip of tea. One moment. And I suppose it could be burnout as well. Or betrayal, sorry. I've lost my trace of thought there. I've not been perfect there. So yeah, you're repairing, aren't you? You're recharging. You're just in your own energy. It's good to be in your own energy. You can do what you want to do. You're not under any pressure when you're in solitude. What do I want to do? Oh, I'm going to go to the gym. Oh, I'm just going to go for a nice walk. I'm going to go to that place that I'd never go to if I was with somebody else. It doesn't matter what it is. And you start to find yourself, and you might find activities that you enjoy doing that you never got to do before. That's the beauty of solitude. I suppose that's also the beauty of potentially being single sometimes. You dictate what you're doing. You don't have to answer to anybody then, do you? You've gone your own. That's the beauty of being on your own, by the way, if you use it properly. And it can, again, we're going back to, it's going to help heal the heartbreak. Time is the greatest healer, as they say. I'll say it again. Time is the greatest healer. I believe in that if you apply it properly. Or sometimes it could just be that you're burnt out, you're stressed out, there's too much going on, too much craziness, and you need that self-repair. You need the solitude. So that's that done. I'm just going to move on, sorry. So I'm going to try and engage. I'm trying to create some engagement now with some questions. One moment, please. So I'm going to ask this question. So, what's one benefit you've found from spending time alone? I'll ask again in a moment. So, what's one benefit you found from spending time alone? So I think I'll speak with this one. I remember go on, I'll tell a story now. Let's go for it. So I remember in my 20s, I was hanging around with the people that I mentioned before. I was going out on the weekend. I was taking a load of drugs. I was off my head, basically. I used to work full time, but I'd go out every weekend and stay out. Sometimes I'd stay out 3 days in a row, 2 days in a row without any sleep. And then I'd go back to work the next week. I don't know how I did it. I barely kept my jobs. I used to get warnings all the time in the jobs that I had. I was a bit of a dick, if I'm honest. And I was hanging around, let's say, I was hanging around with toxic people, but was I a toxic person as well? Yes, I was. But I wasn't happy, and this went on for years, by the way. And eventually I started to come away, and long story short, I used to cycle, I used to start riding my bike, and I was on my own, so I was spending time alone, and I just remember cycling on my own, just cycling down whatever lanes I could find close to where I was living. But I was cycling away from all the craziness, or cycling away from all the madness that I was involved in. I was, trying to clear my head, basically. And yes, was I alone during those moments? Yes, I was. And then I just found that obviously I'm replacing bad habits with good habits, unhealthy habits with good habits, let's say, with the cycling that I did at the time, sorry. And I found that spending time alone, it just got me away from everything. It got me away from all the shit that I was involved in. And then also allowed me to start thinking about all the crazy scenarios and all the people I used to think of. I used to think about all the people that were involved, and then I'd analyse their behaviours. I'd read a lot of books as well on my own, and then I started to understand people's behaviours and their interactions and what type of people they were. And also during those times alone, solitude, I learned about myself, learned who I was. This word I love I became more compos mentis. To know, I think it's a Latin word, isn't it? It's to know. Basically, it's to know yourself, compass mentors, to know yourself. I got to know myself more. Amazing, so powerful, so good. That's what solitude gives me. I still get solitude now when I can. I don't get it. I get it when I can, basically. Sometimes that's just going to the gym or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the next question. So the next question I'm going to ask is, do you ever get judged for being too quiet or keeping to yourself? I'll ask again in a moment. So, do you ever get judged for being too quiet or keeping to yourself? I'm going to answer this one. I might as well. Yeah, I've been judged for being too quiet. Believe it or not, you see me right now on the screen. I'm talking and talking and talking. Of course, I need to do that because I'm on a live vlog. I'm in a room on my own. And if I don't talk, obviously people can message on there or whatever, but I'm the only person talking in the room. That is not, this is me being genuine, by the way. I'm genuinely talking. Obviously, I'm genuinely talking, for God's sake. But when I'm with friends or family or social interactions at work or wherever, I'm not always like this. Sometimes I'm like this, but a lot of the time I'm not. I'll just be sat there quietly. I observe. I'm a bit, like the saying, I'm ambivert. So sometimes I'm extrovert and sometimes I'm introvert. I have a mixture of the both, introversion and extroversion. Hence the name of my channel, Inspirational Ambivert. And sometimes people have gone, oh, you're being too quiet. What's wrong with you? And what's that saying as well? It's good to be quiet in a world that can't stop talking. I'll say it again. It's good to be quiet in a world that can't stop talking. All that noise. It's great. There's a lot, but I think it's great to be quiet sometimes. Nothing wrong with being quiet. Nothing wrong with being stoic. I think the strength is, some people misinterpret that as well as quietness, as weakness. And they interpret loudness as strength. And maybe sometimes they could be right to an extent. But a lot of the time, I find there's a lot of strength in quietness. And a little story I've got here. I used to have a friend. He was very quiet. Nice guy, lovely guy, really quiet. And we were in a house and someone tried to bully him. They wanted to pick a fight with him. And the quiet guy that I'm on about, he can fight. He's a tough guy, very tough guy, very good at fighting, but he's very well-mannered, very controlled, very nice person. But if you cross him, he's going to react. And this quiet guy he was basically, I don't know if anyone knows people like this, he was misunderstood, he was massively underestimated, and the person that decided to pick on him got punched, got knocked out, basically. Not the most positive of stories, of course, but they thought he was weak because he was quiet, which is my point. Not that you need to punch people, by the way. I don't think that's a good thing. But yeah, people misinterpret quietness for weakness. And some people will judge you for it as well. Or being too quiet. They don't like being quiet. They want you to talk or whatever. I just think, do you know what? For me personally, that makes me want to be quiet even more. I'm not a performing monkey. I'm not here for your entertainment. If I want to be quiet, I'm going to be quiet. There's nothing wrong with that. And also, when you're quiet, instead of talking, you're watching, aren't you? You're observing. When you're quiet, you can see things more clearly, in my opinion. When you're analysing, you're sat there watching. So all your energy is being focused on just watching. If you're talking, like I am now more, obviously, your energy is focused on the dialogue, on the words that you're communicating. So yeah, some people will judge you for being quiet, but should you give a shit? Should you give a shit? No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Some people are just dumb as well. And you shouldn't judge other people for being quiet either. Let people be who they are. Let them be who they are. There's nothing wrong with being quiet. And there's also nothing wrong with people that speak sometimes. Anyway, next point. Sorry, one moment. So next question I have is, do you think most men today fear being alone, and why? So do you think most men today fear being alone? And if so, why? I'll answer the question myself then. Just thinking about it myself, actually. So referring to my notes, but I only asked the question on the notes. I need to answer it myself, of course. I think some men fear being alone, but I think what's happened as well in society, I think a lot of men are like really happy being on their own, from my perspective. I think there's God, I'm struggling to answer that question myself. I think less so. I don't know. Good question. I don't even know. Do you know what? If anyone can help me answer this question, that'd be really good, because I've only written these questions down really quickly, and I've not really thought about this question, if I'm honest. Being open and honest. Again, as you can see, am I perfect? Definitely not. I think it depends on how they are and how they see it. I'm thinking about this a bit differently. Are people scared of being lonely? I'd say yes, men and women. Yes, I think so. But I think it depends how you're living your life. Some people are just really happy being on their own. Men and women, of course. They're just really comfortable with it. They're happy with it. They thrive. They thrive off it, some people. So there's no fear there then, is there? But I think if some people do fear being on their own, it's maybe down to the dependent type. If you're a dependent type of personality, you're depending on other people for you're outly projecting your happiness from others. So you're seeking, you're like an approval junkie. You need that validation all the time from others. That's going to create that fear, isn't it? It's going to create that fear of being alone. But if you're comfortable in your own skin, you love yourself, you've got a good relationship with yourself, you've got a good life. Some people in that kind of mindset, I believe, cannot fear being on their own or risk feeling on their own. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So, another question. So I'm going to do a poll now, if I can type this in. Plus 1 1, please. Start a poll. One moment, please. Being terribly slow here. So let's. Sorry, I'm not really saying much at the moment. Sorry, guys. Let me tell. Here we go. When was sorry about this. This is just taking me a few moments to type it in a very slow manner. I apologise. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do that. That's fine. So the question I'm going to ask is, when was the last time you took a full day just for you? I was going to ask outright. I think I might need a whiteboard in the future or whatever. It just shows how terrible I am at technology at this moment in time. So when was the last time you took a full day just for you? I'll ask the question one more time. One moment. When was the last time you took a full day just for you? When was the last time I did it? It was Thursday. I had a day off. My partner was at work. And Yeah, I had a full day to myself. It was great. I went to the gym. I went to the sauna. Nothing exciting, but I was on my own, and it was great. I'm asking the next question I'm going to ask is, one moment. Do you feel more peace alone or around others? So do you feel better around on your own or around others? Do you feel more peace on your own or around others? I personally, I find more peace on my own. Absolutely. But if I'm around good people that have got good energy, that are decent, good people that are coming from a genuinely respectful place, let's say, from like a loving, respectful kind of mindset, if I'm around those type of people, there's a few of them, I'm good. But if I'm around malicious or egotistical people, or people that are just draining, some people are draining, aren't they? Some people are like radiators, so they give warmth, and some people are like drains, so they just suck all the energy out, like emotional vampires or energy vampires, for example. But other people will lift you up. They've got good intentions. They're not trying to be malicious. They're not trying to be manipulative. If I'm around those type of people, it can lift me up, basically. It's a good thing. But I do find peace on my own. I do find a lot of peace on my own, if I'm honest. But I like to, obviously, I'm not saying doing that all the time. I don't think that's even achievable, is it? Well, maybe it is achievable, but I don't think it's healthy to be on your own all the time, by the way. I'm trying to make that point as well. That's extreme, isn't it? And other people might think differently with that. So yeah, I do find more peace being alone than around others, but not everybody's like that, of course. Some people are extroverted, aren't they? And they find that they gain a lot of energy by being in social groups. They love it. And usually they're the types that will be doing all the talking in a group setting, for example. Which doesn't mean they're better or worse than introverts or ambiverts or whatever. It doesn't mean they're better or worse. They're just different types of people, I suppose. But I think if it's one-sided, if someone's extremely extrovert and all they do is talk about themselves and that's all they do, it's all me, attention seeking. They don't listen. They just use everyone else as a sounding board. They're just talking all the way through. I think that's draining. That's not good. Them type of people I'm not the best around, if I'm honest, because I find them very selfish and I find them draining, and not for me, really. I don't hate them or anything, by the way. I just think, shut the fuck up, basically. Sorry, but I think shut up. Talking too much. Or maybe I'm talking too much right now. There could be an argument in that, but in this scenario, it's just myself, isn't it? Speaking in front of a camera to you guys over there. I don't know who that is, but thanks for watching, by the way. I really appreciate it. And you know what? I really appreciate everyone that's subscribed. Means a hell of a lot. And it means a hell of a lot when people comment, even if they don't. Some people don't even agree with what I'm saying, which I'm absolutely okay with, because I'm not always going to be right. And sometimes you could be talking about a topic and there's like 10 right answers, just different perspectives, different opinions. And I think that's good as well, man. I think I'm open-minded enough to actually listen and understand other people's points of view. And sometimes, what's that saying as well? Sometimes 10 minds is better than one. So I've got one opinion, one mindset, obviously, and then if I've got other people contributing it, so I think it's positive. You can learn a lot from others sometimes. Doesn't mean you have to take on board everything. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything completely, but it's good to understand I think it's good to understand other people's perspectives and points of view. It's good, positive, and you can learn from it. So I'm going to move on. So let's move on now. So I'm going to move on to some practical tips. So referring to my notes again, how to make the most of alone time. So how are you going to make the most of it? There's a lot more than what I've written down here, by the way. But you can journal your thoughts. It's going to bring you clarity, isn't it? Potentially. So journaling your thoughts is going to bring you clarity. I suppose. Oh, my video's playing up a little bit. I suppose what I'm doing now is journaling a vlog. It's like a video journaling thing, whatever. So yeah, that's bringing me clarity to an extent. A lot of what I talk about, sometimes it reminds myself as well. But you can write, you're journaling your thoughts down, and then you can read them through, analyze them. It's going to bring you clarity. That's what you could do in your alone time, potentially. I don't think that's for everybody. But I think sometimes it's going to get your thoughts onto paper, and then you actually see, and then you digest it slowly then. So next, number 2, go on walks, drives, or trips. And this is where your self-trust is going to build up. So going on walks, drives, or trips. So it's going on that adventure, isn't it? Going on that, sometimes walking somewhere you've never been before. I think walking is so underestimated, massively underestimated. It's so easy to do. You put your shoes on, comfortable shoes, preferably. You don't even need to do that if you don't want to. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to walk, because not everybody can. If you're lucky enough to be able to walk, remember that one. Appreciate the fact that you can walk, because not everybody can. I find walking calms you down. I've been in the past where I've been really fucking angry. I've been really upset. Been not happy. I've been not happy, let's say. Then I've gone for a walk in nature, and within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I feel a lot calmer. Obviously, walking is good for your cardiovascular health, good for mobility, etc. But it's good for that peace of mind. It's walking. I think it's one of the best exercises out there, because it's the mental and the physical, and it's also, I think it's achievable for a lot of people. So going for walks, and then that can help you to think things more clearly. Help you to think more clearly, can't it? I believe going for walks. Basically, I know it's a very simple thing, but this is going to help with regard to the solitude, to being on your own, etc. So I'm moving on. So making the most out of your alone time. If anyone's got any other opinions, please share. So creating routines that center you, gym, reading, and silence. So creating routines that center you. I need to exercise. If I don't exercise, I get on edge a little bit. I need to do something. I need to use my body. It helps me. It makes me. It's endorphins, isn't it? Serotonin, endorphins. Correct me if I'm wrong. The happy hormones you get from physical activity. I think it's positive. I think it's amazing. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit now. Obviously, reading as well. I think reading can take you to another place, can't it, mentally, depending on what you're reading. Self-help books, etc. I think they're good. A lot of people don't do it, do they? But I think, with regards to myself, from what helped me get away from drugs, helped me get away from living a shit life, basically, was reading. Leaders read, basically. And there's a lot of knowledge is power. You've heard all of these before, I'm sure. Knowledge is power. Absolutely. Power to yourself. Reading's a big, big thing. It opens your mind, doesn't it? Reading's massive, man. I remember my dad used to say to me when I was younger, he used to say, Brad, you need to read. You need to read. And I go off. I was only young. I was a teenager at the time. And I thought, I'm not reading. Why do I want to read? That's stupid. I thought, I can't be arsed reading. And it wasn't until like in my mid-20s that I started to read that he was right. My dad was right. Reading really does open your mind, sharpens your mind. And also, I believe this as well. You can go to university, you can get a degree. That's a good thing, of course. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I think if you read enough about a topic, you become very knowledgeable. You can be very, very knowledgeable. And arguably, if you read enough on a subject, for instance, you could become as knowledgeable as someone who's done a degree in the topic that you're on about, like psychology degree. If you've read enough books about it and you got yourself immersed in it properly, deeply, I believe that you could learn as much or maybe more than someone that did a degree in psychology, for example. Maybe not everyone agrees with that one, but I think there's truth in it. A lot of power in reading, man. But it takes discipline, doesn't it? It's if you can be bothered, it's fitting it into your life. I'm going on a little bit now, but anyway, I found Audible really good because obviously you don't have to read it, do you? It's just playing in your earphones or whatever, and you've got it in the background. And maybe you'll switch off for some of it, but you're putting some good information in your mind, and it's good to fit into your life. So anyway, I'm going on a bit, sorry. So next point is detox from social media. So detox from social media. So it's that comparison, I think. If you're going to be detoxing from social media, obviously, anyone's watching this, so I'm on social media right now, of course. But it's that comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy, isn't it? I'll say it again. Comparison is the thief of joy. So when you're looking at that other person in the gym who's really big and strong, and look at me, I'm not big and I'm not massive at all, let's be honest. I can easily compare myself to get to the guy over there that's lifting so much more weights than me and feel bad about it. Or I can look at the car I'm driving and compare it to somebody else who's got the Porsche. I haven't got the Porsche. It's not such a bad thing, but comparison is a thief of joy, isn't it? And a lot of people do this on social media, and a lot of people on social media aren't even living their true selves, and it's just all bullshit, isn't it? It's not real. A lot of it's just fake. They're just posing for pictures, etc. And then what a lot of people do is they compare themselves to these people, don't they? Or they'll look at a picture of a happy family. Maybe that family is happy, and you're single. You're single, and you're looking at the guy over there who's got the wife, he's got the attractive wife, and he's got 2 kids. And maybe he's got a great life, but maybe he's not. Just because you've seen a picture of them, or you've seen them in the streets, or whatever it is, and you're comparing your own self to them. I don't think it's good. Shouldn't. You've got your own life, you've got your own goals. Everyone's got their own version of success as well. What's right, what's wrong with that? You've got your own version of success. Comparison is the thief of joy, basically. That's my point. Moving on. So use solitude to define your standards again. So using solitude to defining your standards again. So you've been running around, you've been doing what other people expect you to do, you've been doing what everyone else is asking you to do, etc. And I think that solitude, it's going to help you reframe what's good for me. What do I want to do? Got time to think. You've got time to think. Some people don't even have time to think, do they? Imagine if you've got 2 kids and you're with your partner and you're working all the time and you're tired and all you're doing is working. You go. You're taking them people here, you're taking people there. You've no rest, you've no recuperation. You're going to burn out potentially. That's what happens to a lot of people. And there's no time to yourself. But if you do get that solitude, if you do find that solitude, that's when you're just on your own. That's when you can redefine your goals. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What's working for me? What's outdated? Some things become outdated. It's like when you're a teenager and you might have a certain way of behaving. You might be a bit of a joker, for example. I'm just giving examples here. And you make people laugh, which is not a bad thing. But then you're doing that as you're older, in your 30s, and it's like you could potentially look like a bit of a dickhead, a bit like a child. You might need to grow up a little bit. You might need to mature a little bit. So that old way of behaving is no longer relevant in that instance, should I say. So that solitude is going to redefine your goals, basically. It's going to recenter yourself if you use it properly. So I've got a quote. I'm going to move on. Moving on the best I can. So the quote is this. I'm just reading it from my notes. So here we go. Men aren't lonely because they're alone. They're lonely when they're around people who don't understand them. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. Then I'm going to dissect it a little bit and talk about it. So men aren't lonely because they're alone. They're lonely when they're around people who don't understand them. So what do I get from that? So it's when being misunderstood then, isn't it? God, story of my life, man. Story of my life. Being misunderstood, being underestimated as well. People not really getting you. Some people aren't going to get you either. Some people don't even get themselves, do they? Some people don't even understand themselves. They don't get themselves. So they're not going to get you. They don't have no idea who you are and what you're capable of. But it can feel lonely. You're surrounded by people that don't really get you. They don't understand you. They don't even try. This is the worst as well. You're around people that are not even trying to understand you. They don't even care enough to understand you. They don't give a basically, in a nutshell, it's not giving a shit about you. If you don't try and understand someone, put yourself in their shoes. You know, a lot of people don't do this either, do they? The world would be a better place if they did, though. Say yes or no if you think that's true or not. But I think it would be. I think it would be. I suppose that's what my channel's all about as well. It's not going to be. I'm here for people. Basically, people that are going to be attracted to this channel are going to be people that are open to self-improvement. People that are, self-improvement. People that are open to improving, self-improvement, to working on themselves, to self-reflecting, to becoming stronger, to becoming healthier. Those are the people that are probably going to be attracted to this channel. Other people won't be, which is fine. Might be other channels for that, for whatever they're into or whatever. So yeah, you can feel lonely when no one understands you. It can, I've been there. It's not a nice feeling. It's not good at all. It's not nice to be misunderstood. I suppose, though, thinking about it, there's a strength in that because people aren't expecting anything from you. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know what you're about. They have no idea who you are. So what does that mean? So when people misunderstand you, you can use it to your advantage. It can be, in my opinion, it can be a good thing. It can be a strength, can't it? Because you don't know me. You don't know what I'm capable of. You don't understand me. So you're not going to see that person coming. Could be, imagine you're in a job and they see you in a certain way. Oh, you're that person. You're not that. You're this. You're a bit weak and timid. But really, you're a strong person. And all you're doing in the background, you're going to outwork and you're going to outperform them. So I'll say it again. You're going to outwork and outperform them. And they're not going to see you coming because they're too busy chatting. They're too busy gossiping. They're too busy playing games, playing politics at work, for example. And you're working hard and you're doing all the groundwork. You're putting all the energy in. You're building all the building blocks. No one can see these building blocks building up, by the way. Only you can see them. Only you know that they're being put in place. And before you know it, you're up there and they're here. They're talking the shit. They're playing the games. They're judging others. They're putting other people down. You're over there doing the work. So I think there is strength in being misunderstood. Absolutely. And being underestimated. Loads of times I've been underestimated. And it's I suppose it's the ego, my ego speaking here. But of course, it's good to, what was I going to say then? Sorry, one moment. It's good to shock people sometimes. Show them. They won't see you coming. So yeah, I'm going to move on. So, do a little bit of a recap now. So being alone isn't a weakness. It's a strength when it's used well. So being alone isn't a weakness. No matter what society says, being alone is not always bad, man. No, it's not. It's good to be surrounded by people and have that support network, but it's good to be on your own sometimes. And it's going to be, if you utilize that solitude and you use it to recharge yourself and recenter yourself, it's your strength, isn't it? It's also, let me think, it's also that's, what was I going to say then? It's that self-reliance, I suppose, relying on yourself, isn't it? It's just relying on your own, being independent instead of being dependent. You're going to be independent. Independent, aren't you? You've got your own, you've got your own self-worth, your own self-validation. That's true confidence, that's true strength. You're not relying on other people to make you feel good. So if someone doesn't like you and you love yourself, you know yourself, you're not going to be bothered if they don't like you. You're going to be good. You're golden. That's the strength. That's what the strength that solitude can give you if you work on yourself. A lot of people aren't going to do this, of course, but some will. Some will. And also, let's carry on. Sorry. So And also, it's basically as well, especially for those guys out there that might have just they've just become single, they're on their own. You've been in a crazy toxic relationship. It's going to feel like I've been there before, trust me. And after it ended, it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. So the massive weight had gone. It had gone. The massive weight had gone once I had once I got on my own. Once I started to embrace that solitude. Once I wasn't in that toxic relationship anymore, the massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Trust me, and it felt like I could move again, and I could reframe again. And that is where you're going to get that inner peace. So, has anyone got any questions or any comments? I'm going to be ending the video soon. I'm really grateful for all of the subscribers. I really appreciate all the genuinely appreciate all the subscribers. If you've got any comments or anything, just leave a comment and I will reply. I'll help you the best I can. Do I know everything? No, I don't. Am I a psychologist? No, I'm not. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a trained psychologist. I am not a doctor, of course not. I'm a qualified nurse, by the way. I work in a operating theatre. That's what I do as a full-time job. But I do have life experiences, of course, like everyone does. I do have insights and wisdom and perspectives that I am sharing, basically, openly and honestly. And I believe those perspectives and experience that I have can help others. And if you want to check out my channel, Inspirational Ambivert, please do check out the content on there. And if it resonates with anybody, then subscribe and join the tribe, because I'm going to keep releasing new videos all the time. This is basically my passion project. And I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I think this is what I'm meant to do with my life. I don't get paid for this, by the way. I don't get paid for this at all. Maybe one day I will do. That'd be great. But that's not the number one reason I'm doing this. I'm just trying to share my perspectives honestly and genuinely. And please note that not all of my opinions and perspectives are, it doesn't mean that I'm always right. No, I'm not. No, I'm not always right. I'm being open and honest. And everything that I say isn't delivered perfectly either, of course. And a lot of the time I'll talk about topics and there's a lot more to them. There's only so much I can say in a certain amount of time, but there's other opinions as well. So if anyone's got any other opinions, then please just comment. And that's it. So if you are interested in personal development, if you are interested in growth, if you are interested in just basically becoming stronger, becoming a stronger, more better, more well-rounded, mentally and maybe physically stronger person, then just just subscribe. Happy days. Thank you to anyone who's been watching. And thank you for anyone that's commented. I appreciate your time. It's Tuesday night, so enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope you sleep well tonight. And I'll be back soon. So thank you and goodbye. Sorry, it's taking me forever to leave the video. One moment. There we go.